Hey everyone, it is 12 o'clock and we are ready to do our next session. If you're just tuning in for the very first time, I'm Tim Adams. I'm the Executive Director and founder of Free Footy.
And I'm Adriana. I am the Marketing Manager for Free Footy.
We are all in a new world and we're all trying to figure it out. And our main goal is just to really try and stay connected to community, for you to know that we're still here, for you to know that there's still a way to stay active, and for you to know that there's still community. So we're trying to make it up as we go and having some fun with it at the same time by running these little online sessions. So yesterday we did a pound fit session, which is like drumsticks, where we all got to use wooden spoons and play along with the music and the rhythm. And then we did a really great basketball session with basketball icon Steve Sir. And he gave us a homework assignment that you can see on our Instagram page if you want to see what the homework for today is. But at this session, 12 o'clock, we are turning to goalkeeping skills with one of the top goalkeepers in the country, and he's a local boy. So we're both really proud to join with us here, Dylon Powley.
Yeah. Hey, Dylan.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. It's going great.
How are you?
I'm good. Excited to be a part of this and try to stay active as much as possible.
Totally. For people who don't know you really well, what's your story? You're a local guy and now you're playing pro football.
Yeah, I'm a local kid for sure. Grew up playing my youth soccer with Edmonton Drillers. My first ever club team on a technicality, so it was started from the bottom definitely, and then worked our way up, and then went to Sweden 2 years ago in
Oh, I think Dylan's frozen.
Dylan is frozen. I thought it was just me.
No, it's okay. You still there?
I can hear you guys.
Okay, you're back.
Froze a little bit.
Froze for a second. You're okay.
You were in Sweden.
You were left off in Sweden.
Yeah, so I was in Sweden, and then on my way back, came back to Edmonton for a couple months, and I was on my way up to Toronto FC. Got to train with their first team for a couple weeks, so that was an awesome experience. And now lucky enough to be back home playing professional soccer here.
Amazing. And when you said you got on your first club team by technicality, what does that mean?
Well, it means that I originally got cut from that team. I was trying out as an outfield player, and there was a name mix-up for whatever reason. They gave me the wrong penny, so I ended up making it afterwards, after like weeks and weeks of crying of not making it. Almost wanted to quit. I was like 10 years old. It was just the worst thing in the world to me at that time.
Wow, that's crazy.
Now you're here.
And now I'm here. Yeah, so just never give up, I guess, hey?
Yeah. It was like Michael Jordan, same story. Didn't he get cut from a whole bunch of his high school?
I think his high school basketball team or something like that. Yeah, and now he's best player, arguably, that ever lived.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So today you were going to give us like a little goalkeeping session that kids can do at home?
Yeah, absolutely. So all you're going to really need is just a soccer ball. If you have your gloves, absolutely put your gloves on. I'm just going to be doing a couple little things that hopefully doesn't make too much noise, but we'll try to keep it as quiet as possible for sure.
Okay, so we're going to do like a quick 5-minute segment, and then we'll come back in and chat some of the key coaching points, and then we'll do another 5 minutes coaching points, another 5 minutes coaching points. Cool. So we'll turn it over to you for your first 5 minutes. Awesome.
Okay, awesome. Here we go, guys.
Have fun.
So, like I said, all you guys are going to need, if you have your gloves, bring your gloves, obviously, and then you're just going to need a soccer ball. So all we're going to do just to warm up our hands, we're going to start nice and light, nice and simple, just going around our back. We're going to go for 10 times, focusing on not dropping the ball, trying to get our hands around the ball. Then we're going to switch. Front, back. Okay, now next thing we're going to work on, just bouncing the ball and catching it. So the thing that we're really trying to work on is getting this triangle shape behind the ball to ensure that when the shot comes, the ball doesn't go through our hands. It's changed a little bit since I was a kid. He used to teach you the W, but now there's a lot of space between these fingers. So you just bounce, catch it, hold, and look at your shape. Bounce, hold. I'm going to go for 10. focusing on following the ball all the way to your hands the entire time. Still focusing on this shape big time. Most important thing for sure. Couple more. Okay, now we're going to go back. One hand on the ball at each time. Little toss, not really a handoff. It's a little bit of a toss. Getting our hands nice and rounded around the ball. For 10 again. Then we're going around the other way. So important that our palms are not flat because it's like hitting a wall, so it'll just bounce off. So make sure we curl our fingers just a little bit just to get around the shape of the ball. So finish these up. Ooh, going back here. Perfect. I'm going to take my gloves off just in case. But keep your gloves on, kids, if you're watching this. Okay, now we're going back to 10 bounces again. Same thing, focusing on that nice shape. Hold, hold, hold. Couple more. Okay, awesome. Now, just picking it up a little bit, gonna pick up the difficulty just a little bit. So we're trying to throw the ball over our shoulder with enough height to be able to catch it behind our back. So it's here, catch, bring it back. Now other shoulder, catch, bring it back. We're gonna go for 4 on each side, 8 in total. So start here, ball over, catch, bring it back. Working on hand-eye coordination. Behind. Good. A couple more.
Yep.
Last one. Okay, awesome. Now we got that one all wrapped up. Then we'll move on here in a moment.
All right. So the big coaching point that I noticed from you is like cupping your hands. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, so if you think about it, we can even use Steve as an example. He's a basketball player. So when the ball goes off the backboard, typically it rebounds straight out. So the whole idea is when you cup the ball, you're going to the shape of it. So hopefully that's going to take away some of the, I guess, the force coming towards you. So it's just going to help absorb some of that energy coming through it.
And then you also mentioned about the hand position. So I'm old now. But when we used to teach goalkeeping, it was a W. And so why the switch to a triangle?
Yeah, so it's evolved a little bit because when I was a goalie too, it was the same thing. But now what they're trying to teach us and what my goalkeeper coach, Lars Hirschfeld, teaches us is that if the ball has enough force, it's only these 2 thumbs that are going to stop it. And then there's a lot of space here between the 2 index fingers or pointer fingers, I guess.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is get our hands and as much surface area onto the ball as possible. So if we catch it like this, there's a lot of space here for the ball to potentially go over.
Yeah.
Where if we catch it here, we have a lot of our hand on the ball and a lot of fingers behind it to help absorb some of that energy.
Wow, okay. And so between cupping it and making that triangle space, you're catching as much of the energy really as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's important that our hands are not super stiff and not at the same time too relaxed. It's just that happy medium where we can still absorb some of that energy without losing control of the ball.
Cool. Okay. I would just building on that. Would you be able to maybe take the next couple of minutes and just show us like the body position around when you do catch the ball? So we got the hands kind of there. What's the body position that you should be in? Like how are your arms out? What's your stance look like?
Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely do that.
Okay, let's try that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tilt this down a little bit here. Okay, so I'll tilt this up just a smidge. Okay, there we go. Okay, so every movement that a goalkeeper does comes from what's called a set position, okay? So a set position, our feet are maybe shoulder width apart just a little bit further if necessary. for stability. If we're too close together, we're very unstable right now. So like I said, feet shoulder width apart, knees bent. And now what's important thing is that we're leaning forward. So now the thing that I teach my goalkeepers is that there's a difference between bending and then there's a difference between leaning. Okay. So we're looking to get our body weight moving forward onto the balls of our feet. So like I said, feet shoulder width apart, leaning forward here. So now when we're catching the ball, it's important that our arms, I call this the chicken wing. It's important that our arms aren't too far apart like this.
Good.
Because that's gonna
I'm learning a lot actually.
have finger overlap. But it's also important that our hands and our elbows aren't too close together because naturally that will make that W shape. So watch my hands just naturally as my elbows move apart, your hands naturally move closer together. So we're looking for about just a little bit of space underneath our arm and the inside of our rib cage. And this is what every catch should look like. So from the side, arms are reached out, not all the way out, not too close because then we can't see the ball properly. And if we're too far out, it's like two cars hitting each other. It's an opposite movement towards something coming towards you. So we're looking for something right in the middle to be able to absorb that energy into here like that. Okay, so we can practice a couple more of these in this set position. One thing we can do actually for a good drill for this, everybody go high knees. When you bounce the ball, set like this, okay? We're gonna go for 8 of these. Set. Just gotta make sure my laptop doesn't shut off here, okay? So high knees, set. Still focusing on good distance away from your chest, not too far, not too close, making sure we're not doing the chicken wing here, okay? Knees up, bounce, set. Up, bounce, set. Set. Couple more. 2 more here. Set, last one. Good. Awesome. So the next thing that I do want to quickly touch on is that when we're catching the ball coming towards us, we want to make sure that our hands are behind the ball and not too far over the top. So we don't want to be catching like this, okay? As much as possible, hands behind and around the ball as much as possible, as I said. So yeah, that's all we really have for the set position. It's probably the most important piece. Ooh. Can't quite hear you there.
Oh, can you hear me better now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I learned a lot from that. Big thing that I took away is the similarities between the 2 different sports. Yesterday we talked with Steve, and today we're talking with you about soccer. Steve was basketball, but really that set position sort of doesn't change from sport to sport.
No, I think every sport has some kind of set position, whether it's football, like the receivers in their starting position, or goalkeeping, or as Steve said, probably in his basketball. I think everything's got a fundamental movement to it. So for goalkeeping, this is whether it's a pass, whether it's a cross, whether it's a shot, everything comes from that set position.
Yeah. So balls of your feet, making sure your hips are tilting a little bit forward and that your body has that tilt to it, but not a lean, as you said.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's definitely, we're trying to avoid the bend.
Yeah.
To just lean forward just this tiny bit.
And what is the intent of that lean? Is that just so that you're kind of ready to go?
Yeah, so that kind of helps you when it gets to like the more advanced like diving stages. For coming off the angle, you want to dive on an angle as much as possible instead of straight across or backwards even. So by leaning forward, that's going to help you take your step forward, which will set you up for a dive that's at a forward angle.
Ah, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Like breaking down all these little mechanical pieces.
Yeah, no, it's so like there's so many little pieces to it that make just such a big difference. And I didn't realize that until my first year last year with Lars Hirschfeld.
How much of this stuff, like these small mechanical pieces, do you practice on your own at home in a setting like, you're at your house right now? Like how much time is spent doing these things as a pro?
Well, there's so many little things that you need to practice, but it's important to know that you can practice as much as you want, but it's practicing good habits, right? So it's very hard for you to progress in soccer and life for that matter if you're practicing the bad habits. So it's about consistency. So you can go to training for 2 hours, but then you need to come home and you need to do extra little bits. So in extreme circumstances like this right now, it's very easy to be training these little habits that make such a big difference. So right now I'm training as much as I can at home, just to try to stay sharp, just to try to not get back into those lazy habits that I used to have. So it's very, very, very important to be doing this as much as possible.
Awesome. Can you maybe show us one more little habit? And then I want you to remind me to ask you about what you do when you get frustrated, because I'm sure that happens as a goalkeeper.
Maybe once or twice.
But if you could show us like one more little habit, and then like I'd love to talk to you about like the mental state of what you do when you get frustrated, because I think that's a really important thing for life in general at the moment. And
Yeah,
if anyone has to master their mind the most, it would be a goalkeeper.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so one more maybe little habit that we can work on.
For sure. So we can try to turn this up a notch. I don't know how much room I've got here. Actually, I've got a little bit of room. So got a little bit of room. So you're just gonna be sitting down. Can you see this? I'll tilt it down a tiny bit more. Cool. Okay. So just practicing what we've kind of worked on in terms of the hand position, but now we're gonna do it with a dive. Okay. So you're gonna be sitting kind of on the side of your butt and the side of your leg here. And all you're going to be doing is from this seated position, you're just going to throw the ball very lightly out just a little bit, and then you're just going to collapse down onto the ball. Okay? So what we're working on here is, like I said, with that forward dive, we want to avoid diving straight across, and we want to also avoid diving backwards by leaning backwards. So if you lean your head forwards and you're here, your body's going to go where your head goes. So if you drop the ball here, but you're leaning back, this is where we get in trouble as goalkeepers, is the backwards dive, okay? So we're really trying to focus on that forward momentum. Ball here, balls or hands around the ball, okay? Big thing. Same way you catch when you're standing up is the same way you catch when you're laying down and diving, okay? So it's here, hands around. Bring this knee up for extra protection if you need afterwards. You don't have to, it's not necessary in some cases, but in some cases it is. So we're gonna go for 6 on this side, okay? 1, bring that knee up, and position. 2, 3, 4, also a good core exercise as well. 5, and we got one more. 6. I'm going to see if I have enough room to do it here on the left side. Should be okay. And we're going to do the exact same thing once I fix my screen on the left side, okay? So, same thing. Ball here. 1. I'm going to go for 6. 5 more. 2. 3. 4. 5, and last one. 6. So those are just some of the same techniques that we use while we're standing up. Still so important when we're diving that we still catch the ball in that good triangle position. Can't quite hear you there.
There we go.
There we go. Perfect.
Sorry about that. Trying to get into that position that you were on your hip.
Yeah.
Can we maybe walk through that from like you're sitting just on your butt, and then how you position it so you do the lean? Because that part is pretty tricky. Like it's natural to you, it's natural to people who play goalie, but for the average person to be able to get into that position, it seems like I think it would be kind of tricky. So if we can start from just a seat, like seated on your butt, and then how you would move your hips to get into that position where you can lean.
For sure.
Yeah, awesome.
So everybody, if you're watching this, you just sit on your butt with your feet out, knees up, okay? So in order to get to this side position, if we're going to dive to our right side, I know it shows left on the screen, but it's my right side, you're going to just kick your knees to the side like this. So you're sitting left leg on top, almost left knee on top of the right foot, okay? Now what you're going to do you can put both hands in front of you and you're just going to kick your legs out. So now, same thing. The left leg is behind the right leg, okay? Just going to scooch over here a little bit. And now you're sitting just on the side of your butt here and on the side of your leg, okay? So just seated like this. You can use the right arm, once again shows left, but right arm for stability here. And you can drop the ball with your opposite hand, or when your core strength gets built up enough, you can just sit here and drop it with the right hand, okay? So for simplicity, put your right hand on the ground, ball out in front, and then when the ball drops, give yourself a little push up to use your own momentum to fall down instead of just falling down, okay? So go through 4 more each side. So same thing, make sure that left leg is over the right leg, push down, okay? Same thing, reset the position, hand out with the left hand, drop, push, down, okay? We've got 2 more on this side, reset that same position, drop, push, down. Last one, push up, down. Okay, we're gonna switch to the other side.
Do you want to put me up again after he does the other side?
So now we're gonna go, once again, it shows right hand, but it's gonna be left hand. Same thing, trying to sit on the side of your leg and the side of your butt. Right leg goes over top of the left leg, leaning just into your shoulder a little bit, okay? A little bit of shoulder stability. Right hand, drop, push up and down, okay? So we're gonna go for 3 more. Holding it out, drop it, push up, down, okay? 2 more. Drop, up, down. Same thing, make sure we have that good triangle position. I don't know why my screen keeps going dark sometimes, but last one. So we're here, last one, push up and down. Oh, there we go. Ooh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that really helped me because I was just thinking about how do you even get into that position, but that made a lot of sense to me with swooping your leg underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a really, and for anyone that's watching, like this gets archived on our website. If so you want to go back and move through the movements of that, like you can see, because you pieced it out really well of steps 1, 2, 3. The only other piece I wanted to add, maybe you could build on with that. You talked about your leg position when you're in the dive and how one leg is up to defend yourself, but you can also see how your other leg, you're sort of pointing your toe.
Yeah.
Can you maybe just talk really quickly and then we'll move on, I swear. But I'll pick your brain one more time. Like,
so the toe,
your legs, of the
Yeah.
positioning of your legs when you're in that dive stance.
Yeah, okay. So there's certain times definitely when you're diving and there's a player coming towards you trying to get the rebound. So the same thing, we're going to set up on the right side, shows left on my screen, but right side. So right hand down, right leg on the side on the ground, left leg on top. We're going to be dropping the ball again. So now it's important when you drop, we're just in this normal dive position. You can bring the top leg up to help protect yourself. So what this is going to do is this is going to block anybody from kicking your core, kicking your body, and hopefully it's going to kick your leg where your shin pad is and where all the protection is, okay? So same thing, right hand planted, left leg on top, left hand out. So now we're going to try to do it all in one motion now, okay? So it's drop, down, knee up. So this whole piece of your leg is just protecting your body. So now the other part is not only do you need to protect your body, but you also need to protect the ball. It's the most important thing. So it's here. Another thing you can do, catch it, bring it in, and then we can hold the ball like this. So now everything is protected. The ball has a secure area around it, and the leg is protecting the rest of your body, okay? So we'll go for 4 up like that, okay? But the important thing is that we still catch the ball as normal and bring it in after, okay? So we're here, right hand down, left leg on top, here, down, bring it in, okay? So now everything is secure, nothing can get loose, okay? So we're gonna go for 3 more. Down, okay? Bring that knee in, knee to elbow, okay? just tucked in like that, nice and protected. 2 more. And in. Okay, last one on this side. Down and in. Okay, so now there's one more thing I would like to quickly add in terms of the dive. So you might have noticed, so now we're switching sides, left side. You might have noticed that when I catch the ball, I bring the ball down to the ground after. So I'll show you here, like this, okay? So the more places we can secure the ball from, the better. So when you dive, your hands are on top of the ball like this. So there's a whole piece of the ball underneath that isn't secured, okay? So we can utilize the floor or the field or the gym or anything to help secure that ball even more, okay? So the ball is here, up, catching it, bringing it down. So now it's secured from the top and the ground is helping secure it from the bottom, okay? So we're gonna work on that with the knee and with the elbow all intertwined together, okay? So fix my laptop one more time. So now left hand shows right on the screen, but we're going left. Right leg on top of the left leg, ball with the right hand, okay? So here, bring it down, knee up, bring the ball, okay? 3 more. Down, knee up, bring the ball in, okay? For these last 2, we're gonna try to do it all together, all in one motion, okay? Let's try to keep up with this, okay? Here we go. And in. Okay, last one. Up and in. Okay, so hopefully those are a few extra little bonus tips that we can use to help secure that ball and keep everybody protected.
You survived your first
Awesome.
trade.
The goalies aren't
That
so
was
bad.
awesome.
Adriana is back with us. Adriana is on our free footy team. If you haven't seen her in a little bit, she's been working the camera behind the scenes. Oh, were you practicing?
Yeah, I have my little Russia ball. You know, working on
Nice.
my hands. Except I'm cheating because it's like it's a mini ball. So it makes me feel stronger.
Makes your hands feel much bigger.
How long does it
Yeah.
take you to like perfect these things? And I know you're always working on them and you're never
Yeah.
perfect. How long did it take for you to get to a point where you're like, I feel like I've kind of mastered it?
Honestly, yeah, everybody's still, I'm like a student of the game always, right? So I'm always learning something, and I haven't learned as much as I have until last year with my goalie coach. But in terms of goalkeeping, I was quite a late bloomer, you could call it. So it takes a long time. It's important to be patient with it. I went through a point where it was just so frustrating. Felt like I couldn't do anything right, but you just keep going, and then eventually it won't all come together at once. There'll be pieces that will come together one at a time that start relating to each other. So it'll become easier. It's like, oh, well, I can do this part and I need this part to do that. So you're already halfway there if you start thinking about it like that. So it takes a while, but it's worth it in the end.
Can you
So
pick
when
up on Adriana, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, so Dylon, when did you feel like 100% confident that, you know what, I'm going to be a goalkeeper? Because you said you tried out as an outfielder player, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I guess goalkeeping's my thing. Like, when did you start realizing that? Like, what age were you at?
So that team that I originally got cut from, like I said, I tried out as an outfield player, and we had a goalie that was injured, and we had a goalie that was out of town, and I was one of the players who wasn't playing so much. So they just kind of threw me in there, and honestly, I did really, really well, surprisingly. And it kind of stuck for the rest of the season. And ever since then, I've always played goalie. I've just never wanted to play outfield again. And so I was probably about 10 or 11 for sure.
See, sometimes, so I coach girls soccer, as you know, and there's some players who are so fearful of trying new positions, and it's just, you don't know what's going to come out of that.
Absolutely.
You know, for one day it's fear, and the next day it's something you're so successful at. So it's like a message of just try things new, because you don't know what's going to come out of it. A pro contract for yourself, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Variety is the spice of life.
Yeah. we got to pick up on the frustration piece that you mentioned and I mentioned before, and just thinking about like life right now of just people being stuck in their homes and not being in their regular routines and just sort of the angst that creates. And I honestly can't think of better positions in life for someone to speak about like how you control your mind, because as a goalkeeper, you make one mistake and the game could be over. Whereas if you're a striker, or it kind of backs up down the field, right? If you make a mistake as a striker, it's just like, oh, those guys, whatever.
Yeah.
But as you make a mistake as a goalkeeper, it's the game.
Yeah.
So what is the mental state like? What do you use to sort of settle yourself?
That's probably the part that I still struggle with the most, is the mental aspect. And I'm learning very quickly that any sport you do, it's very much related to your outcome in life. If what you're going to put in is what you're going to get out, same thing goes for life. If you work hard, you might get some things that you didn't think you would get, right? So it's the thing that separates like the top goalkeepers, which I don't classify myself as, but I'm talking like the Buffons, the Ter Stegens, the Neuers, all of those guys, is obviously their physical ability, but their mental game, because it's so difficult to be a goalkeeper, because you train alone, or you train with the one other goalkeeper. You're back there all game alone. You make one mistake, it's on your shoulders. So it's so important to just be mentally tough. And that relates so much to something like this, where you just have to be positive as much as you can. Don't surround yourself with negativity. If there's a bad day, you just have to keep going. If there's a bad practice, you just have to keep going. If you have a bad game, just keep going. So that it really relates to life more than anything, and more than I realized up until probably last year.
Do you have any techniques?
Honestly,
or it's just like think positive thoughts, think positive.
Yeah, I've been known to have quite a temper on the field, where if there's a mistake, I'm probably the first person to let you know about it.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that is just like, you just gotta breathe it out. Just take a second, bite your tongue. And that goes once again to their current circumstance. If everything is being shut down right now, you just gotta go, okay, I have my family, I have everything that I need right now, blah, blah, blah. And that same thing goes for soccer. Okay, I let in a bad goal. There's still 70 minutes left in the game. I need to be sharp for my teammates. I need to be strong for my teammates. And you need to be strong for your family right now.
That's the best message I think we can possibly end on.
Yeah.
Sure.
You nailed it. So we'd love to have you back.
Absolutely.
We're going to keep trying to do this and maybe we'll have some goalkeepers emerge out of this storm.
Maybe, hopefully.
You never know, right? But at the least, there's a community of us here who we can chat with, we can have these conversations. You hear like a pro athlete saying, hey, just take a deep breath, which is something that we talk a lot about with kids, is like how important it is to just take 3 deep breaths, try again.
Yeah.
And that applies to like everything right now, right? So some of the values and the skills that you're learning at this elite level, like can really apply in a time like this. So we're super appreciative of you sharing your time and your gifts and your skills with us, and we'll do some more.
Yes, of course. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dylon.
Right.
I'll see you later.